This life in the kingdom is just a crazy adventure where we can't expect anything, but we can trust that God is in control regardless. My name is Jonathan Pitts. I am a dad of 4 girls. I have a teenager that's 15, a 13-year-old, and twin 11-year-olds. I'm a pastor at Church of the City in Franklin, Tennessee. And I also am the president of an organization that my late wife, Winter, started called For Girls Like You. You know, COVID-19 has really upended most of our lives, and it's thrown our lives into kind of a tailspin. I know for me, you know, this happened really abruptly. I wasn't necessarily prepared to be working from home every single day, and I've been working from home for the last 2 weeks. My daughters have been homeschooling for the last week. I'm thankful that my girls are actually really good self-educators. I feel like my girls and I are weathering this storm pretty well. For us as a family, the storm of this COVID-19 type hit us after another storm, which was actually much more significant for us as a family. I mentioned we lost my wife a little over 20 months ago, and that was a massive storm for me. That was a massive storm for my girls. God taught me a lot about myself in that time, about how I lead, about how I father, about some of my own insufficiencies. And so coming into the storm that we're currently in as a nation, I feel like God's prepared me. And my perspective's probably maybe a little bit balanced and in a way that I'm really grateful for right now. What I've learned about myself in this time is that I can tend to do really well. I get more disciplined in times like this, but I'm also hard on myself. And so I have to actually give myself a little bit of grace. I can be my own worst critic. And so I have to give myself grace in times like this. It's really important for me to get some rituals and some daily activities in place that help me be a little bit more disciplined. Those things become really important because I can be the one that gets lulled to sleep when times are good. And so if you find yourself in the camp where you're being really hard on yourself, I would say offer yourself grace. If you find yourself just needing to be a little bit more disciplined because you find yourself being lulled into sleep and away from the presence of God, then I would institute discipline into your life. And I would say for me, both of those things have to be happening at once because both of those things can be true at once. I can be needing grace, God's grace daily, and I can be needing to be a little bit more disciplined in my pursuit of Him. And so it's really interesting to think about how hard times can really mold us. So the thing I've actually found the most helpful and the most healing in this time is remembering that our life, like God's literally given us specific institutions to benefit our lives. And I found that so settling. When all else has fallen away, family has been a thing for me that God has reminded me is really where most of my joy comes from. Most of the real and beautiful interactions happen in that one institution that God has given me. And it's been a beautiful thing. As hard as this time has been, just learning new rhythms and being home and all the noise, it can get really noisy in my house with 4 girls. The beautiful thing that has come out of this is that my family has come closer together. And it's actually kind of neat because for most families, it's really hard to say no to things and it's really easy to say yes to everything. So this kid's in soccer and this kid's in dance and you find yourself doing all these different activities. And in this season, all of that has stopped. All of that noise has gone away. Parents haven't had to feel bad for not doing the activities. There's no guilt associated with it. And it's been a beautiful time for me to lean into my family. As a pastor, guiding us through this storm, I hope that my life is an example to the congregation. I'm not doing that perfectly. I mean, honestly, like I've had fears and worries and concerns just like everyone else. So I really try to live in a pretty open way, pretty transparent way. I talk about my struggles. I talk about my issues. And I want people to first be able to identify with the fact that I am, although I'm a pastor, I'm also a human. And the same trust that they have to put in Jesus is the same trust I have to put in Jesus. So I hope that I'm modeling it well. And when I don't model it well, I hope that I'm owning that. And I hope that that I'm allowing people to see my vulnerability and also my dependency on Jesus because I'm not going to do it perfectly, and neither will they. Yeah, living in the presence of Jesus is really critical to our relationship with God. And I know it can be really difficult because for us as humans, we tend to want to either stay in the past, dwell on what's happened in the past, relive the past. And we can also tend Some of us prefer to just rush into the future. It can be a difficult place to be and to show up. And so, as we do that, the best way to do that is literally show up for that relationship every day. I know for me, the thing I try to do is actually start my day off in the presence of Jesus. So my routine right now is every single morning before my girls wake up, I walk my dog. And as I walk my dog, I actually listen to a podcast that's it's like a guided prayer podcast. And it just helps me to really start thinking about God and who he is. And I talk to him very casually. And, I think about the verse Philippians 4:8, whatever's true, whatever's right, whatever's honorable, whatever's pure, whatever's lovely, whatever's admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things. And so when I wake up in the morning, I start thinking about those things, the things that are true about me, the things that are true about God, the things that are right in the world, the things that are right in my relationship with my daughters and my relationship with God. And as I walk, I just begin to recount those things and talk to God about those things. And that's what actually grounds me in the presence, is actually every single day when I'm waking up, bringing Jesus into the present part of my life, which is my every morning. And I find the more that I do that, the more he's with me throughout the day. Trust me with every fiber of your being. What I can accomplish in and through you is proportional to how much you depend on me. One aspect of this is the degree to which you trust me in crisis or major decision. Some people fail miserably here, while others are at their best in tough times. Another aspect is even more telling: the constancy of your trust in me. People who rely on me in the midst of adversity may forget about me when life is flowing smoothly. Difficult times can jolt you into awareness of your need for me, whereas smooth sailing can lull you into the stupor of self-sufficiency. I care as much about your tiny trust steps through daily life as about your dramatic leaps of faith. You may think that no one notices, but the one who is always beside you sees everything and rejoices. Consistently trusting in me is vital to flourishing in my presence. The other thing I do is actually pause in my day. John Eldredge talks about the 1 minute pause, and I've begun actually implementing that in my life, where I'll take a 1 minute pause throughout my day. I'll stop, I'll think, I'll say, Jesus, I give you everything in my life, and I receive everything that you want for me to have. And so I really just try to practice being in God's presence, because it's not necessarily easy. It's like any other relationship. Sometimes it can be difficult to be with people, to relate to people. And so I just practice showing up to him, and I ask that when I show up to him, he shows up to me, and he never fails me.